everyone, Sigmar here. Once again, no Zagzwing to support me, so I have to manage myself. In this video I'm going to comment on the Genetron changes that happened recently. I've compiled the list of changes from the last 3 patches and have some things to say about them, so let's go! Just a quick note that I'm happy that there are already some subscribers to the channel. It feels extremely nice to be supported, so if you like what you see and hear, please do follow the ScionCraft channel, more videos coming soon. Let's start with the big stuff. Genetron buildings no longer maintain the worker while under construction. This is huge and I cannot stress it enough. This is a world-shaking, game-changing adjustment to the race. As I've noted in the Genetron chat, when playing as a Genetron I've always felt broke, and now it's quite the opposite. The race feels completely different. You feel like you always have more money than you can spend, which is especially important in the early to mid game when you are still building your production structures and uploaders. I feel like now I have more than I can spend, which means probably I can simply do more with my builds early on, which is great. What this change did is it made the ACR, the worker unit for the Genetron, basically summon buildings like a Protoss probe does, meaning that a single worker can now construct unlimited number of buildings on its own and quickly go back to mining, which makes you not lose money due to having a lot of workers constructing the structure simultaneously. And the nice bonus is that you don't even need a pylon to do so. All this means that now repulsor rushing your opponent became a lot more potent, but Solstice, the creator of the mod, thought of everything and introduced a lot of changes to keep this cheese strategy in check. I will talk about this later. By the way, shout out to the one-man army that Solstice is, because not only does he introduce all these wonderful gameplay and balance changes to the game, but he also prepared some new models and animations. The new building construction animation for Genetron is just so beautiful, so fun to look at, so kudos to him. Worth mentioning is that Fabricator, Genetron Gas Plant, Interdictor and Uploaders all received a new model, which also look amazing, and they were introduced due to Solstice's amazing work on all fronts. So thanks to him! Okay, on to the next change. Defense buildings can now autocast Conceal Reveal, so they will automatically engage enemy targets and get out of the way when no threats are nearby. What this means is that Genetron's static defense can be sneaky now. It will barrow when no enemy is nearby and unbarrow when it will be able to attack an enemy. It's pretty cool because putting a turret in your mineral line will now not disrupt mining, which is another economic boost. Sometimes it will even surprise your opponent when he tries to do like a run-by or some air harassment and meets head-on with an Interdictor. Secondly, now a static defense building can be part of your wall and will act like a more manageable supply depot, because it will go up on its own in case of a Zergling run-by and the like, which is extremely nice, and it will of course let your units pass in case no enemy is nearby, which is very convenient. Note that you need to enable the autocasting of the barrow-unbarrow thing on your own by right-clicking the icons on the unit's command card, so keep that in mind. Next up, 2 changes to the lockdown functionality. Lockdown damage reduction reduced to 60% down from 66.6%. Lockdown buildings must wait several seconds before resuming normal functionality after being repaired. So numerically it's not that much different and I don't know what prompted the change, but the second adjustment is important in the context of Genetron's static defense. I believe this change was introduced to keep repulsor rushing in check. Basically when the repulsor or any other building goes into lockdown, even if you repair it above the lockdown threshold, the building will still be disabled for some time. No idea how many seconds that will last though. So once you bring the repulsor low, it will cease shooting no matter what, giving a defending player a breathing room. Of course I am talking about the repulsor rush scenario here. I also believe that even after repairing the building it will still have the damage reduction on, which might be useful in case of like defending an expansion's processing core, making it able to tank more damage until it is destroyed. Because even when repaired it will still be in lockdown for some time. On to the building changes. Processing core, mining priority harvest bonus increased to 2 up from 1. Well, as I've stated in the previous video, mining priority ability was trashed here, because it needed to boost Genetron's income in a major way and all it did was to provide like 32 minerals and 16 gas. Now the ability provides 64 minerals and 32 gas, but the boost is no longer direly needed, so probably it is not needed at all, but it is still welcome. The ability is now still pretty unimpactful, but not as bad as it used to be, so that's nice I guess. Outfitting station. Mineral cost increased to 150 up from 125. Simple change to delay the repulsor rushes a little bit. It is also a theme now that some buildings got a little bit more expensive because they no longer need a worker to work on them. And no mining is lost basically, so Then we've got the static defense changes. Repulsor, mineral cost increased to 150 up from 125, life reduced to 300 down from 325, build requirements now include the manufacturer in addition to the outfitting station, build time increased to 32 up from 29. So overall you can see that Repulsor was nerfed. It is more expensive, it has less health, its build time is longer, now it also needs a manufacturer in order to be constructed. All of this was changed in order to be ready for the inevitable surge of repulsor rushes, which from my experience are now pretty manageable for the defender. You can easily defend your main with just your workers until your first combat units pop out. I am more afraid of taking the opponent's natural base with repulsors because you cannot quickly deal with the repulsors building in your natural with your workers. Due to the distance they would have to go and mining you would lose. So keep an eye on your natural, okay? These changes also make it impossible to go processing core first in an outfitting station and a repulsor to keep your natural safe, which is sad but it is an acceptable loss. Better this than getting repulsor rushed every game, right? Interdictor. Build requirements now include the manufacturer in addition to the outfitting station. Weapon damage changed to 30 from 2 times 15. So the change to the damage is a welcome one. Consolidated attacks are of course better than smaller ones, but I have a problem with the requirement of the manufacturer. Basically it's not like you can rush and kill your opponent with interdictors, not even Zerg overlords because of the creep, so why would such a requirement be added? I don't know. By the way, along with the new model for the interdictor also came a new attack animation and sound, and they are just wonderful. Thumbs up from me. Uploader. Mineral cost increased to 50 from 25, life reduced to 400 down from 500, footprint size changed to 1 by 1 down from 2 by 2. The size reduction is a big win here. I think Genetron will no longer have any problems with space in their main bases. I don't really care about the HP change. I think it was done for flavor reasons, with smaller buildings making sense to have like lower hit points. The mineral cost is bigger because Genetron no longer loses a lot of mining, building multiple uploaders, so I guess it's fine. And it also now makes it a decision. Do you want to have fabricator on assembly array with 3 uploaders, or do you want more of the buildings with a single uploader? It is simply no longer a non-decision to have a 3 uploaders, fabricators and assembly arrays all the time. On to the unit changes. Spitfire, radius reduced. Weapon speed changed to 0.45 from 0.5. Build time increased to 25 up from 23. Calibrated engines research time reduced to 100 seconds down from 121. It is good to see the unit radius reduced, because Genetron units tend to be pretty big, making the army pretty clunky. The build time is increased but not by much, and Genetron units are still produced extremely fast due to the uploader production speed boost. I've talked with Solstice about the weapon speed change and it is pretty small, though it made the unit trade with subjectors better, and I was told Spitfire was the only mineral only basic unit that didn't trade well with Chiron subjector on equal mineral values, so that's pretty cool. As you can see, Solstice is pretty on the ball with balance and unit interactions, so we know the mod is in good hands. The change to calibrated engine is super cool, because the upgrade took forever to be done, and now it makes Genetron be able to be more proactive with Spitfires sooner, giving the race map control in certain matchups faster. I think there is still room to make the research time even smaller, considering metabolic boost for Zerglings only takes like 79 seconds and this is now 100 seconds, but I will take what I can. Blitzer. Build time increased to 30 seconds up from 29. Blaze. Build time increased to 30 seconds up from 29. Equalizer. Build time increased to 30 seconds up from 29. Aquila. Build time increased to 45 seconds up from 43. Pretty much irrelevant changes. Build times were rounded up to make them more regular, and I think that's it. Nothing to talk about here. Tesla. Shock charges now degenerate energy at the rate of 7 up from 5. So the Tesla shock charges stayed on the battlefield like forever, so this will now make that they will disappear faster, which is a good change, but still nothing to talk about here really. Virtus. Life reduced to 425 down from 450. Lockdown damage reduction reduced to 60% down from 66.6%. So the lockdown changes follows the changes to the buildings, so nothing to talk about here. The life reduction is pretty minor too. I think Solstice realized Virtus was in a pretty good state and decided to act quickly, but I don't think this change has any chance of rendering the unit useless, so yeah, that's it, a preemptive nerf. And that's all the changes to the Genetron. Overall, Genetron received what I consider to be a well-deserved economic buff. This completely changes the race's situation and position in the mod. As I've said in the chat with Zaxveng, I consider Genetron to be the worst of the Scion races balance-wise. The problem was of course the economy, which is now fixed and it makes the race simply excellent. Considering also how much Chiron was nerfed, which I will talk about in the next video, I now think that Genetron is the most powerful of the Scion races. My opinions can of course change based on the games played and observed, but I think this is the case now, with Genetron being top tier, Zaid being mid tier, and Chiron unfortunately falling out of favor and being the weakest of the 3 races now. That's it from me today. If you like this talk, please leave a like, a comment and subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you like this format or if you want some other kinds of videos about the Scion races. I was thinking about talking about my ideas for changing the mod, but I have no idea if there would be like any interest in it, so let me know. Shout out to Zaxveng for editing the video, as he still is struggling with his microphone, and I hope he will join me soon, but for now, goodbye.